double connection. I couldn't able to connect on time. Okay, anyway, I will start the lectures. Last class we started about the agroecological regions. So today we will continue the lectures. Okay. And yes, I'm going to record. Yes.
Recording in progress.
So then we will just look about the agroecology definition, and now we are looking about the agroecological region classification in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, I have already mentioned that in last class. We have rainfall factors, that is rainfall and temperature, red humidity, elevation, like that. One of the main factors is rainfall. And based on this rainfall factor, right, Sri Lanka is divided into 3 climatic zones, right? Last class we discussed. So the particular area receives less than 1,750 millimeter in the regions called it as dry zone. Likewise, in intermediate zone, right, in between that 1,750 millimeter and 2,500 millimeter, where the region falls, then we call it as intermediate zone. Similarly, about 2,500 millimeter rainfall, right, that is almost available in some area, that is called wet zone, right? So likewise, based on the elevation, the Sri Lanka is divided into 300 meter, 300, 900 meter, and greater than 900 meter. So based on that, if the area falls less than 300 meter, we say low country. Similarly, more than 900 meter, we call it as up country. In between the region, we name it as mid country. Understood, right? So just based on these elevations, right? Dry zone is only having the low country, but other zones, right? Other zones further divided into low country, mid country, and up country. If you look at these classification, you can see that it also further classified. Similarly, wet zone also classified as low country, mid country, and up country. Understand, right? So altogether, we had, we have 3 climatic zone. Likewise, in both rainfall and elevation factor joined together, and we will have the 7 ecological regions. Right? That means, right? Why I am saying that we have the above-ground factor, one of the factor that is rainfall, right? And joined together, we have another factor that is elevation. So elevation, that is the atomic factor, because that is one of the soil elevation mean that's the elevation, no? That means the vertical height of the particular area from the mean sea level. So that is one of the atomic factor. So we call both together, that is the agroclimatic zone, or maybe that ecological regions, that is called, we say 7. How it is come 7? 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That means the rise on low country. So far, the Sri Lanka have the classification. Degree of wetness, right? You can see here the degree of wetness symbolized, right, as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, up to 5. The degree of wetness is noted. Okay, so here you may think about that 5 is the highest value, so degree of wetness is high here, but not, right? That means the 1 is the highest degree of wetness. When it is goes down and down, the degree of moisture or wetness will decrease. Understand? So up to that, Sri Lanka, based on this degree of wetness, Sri Lanka is divided into 24 agroecological regions. This was the early classification used in 1975. But now, right, it is also further divided into A to F. That is also the rainfall and other physical environmental factors. All these factors influencing for the agroecological map, and the map is further divided into 46 agroecological regions, right? So then A and F, A is the highest value. When it goes down, it will decrease. Understand, right? So that means why we are going to divide further and further, because when we divide further and further, we can get the homogeneous characters. I have already mentioned that. That means the uniform characters falls within a particular area. You can see that, right? If the area is, understand, if the area is divided into three, that is dry zone, intermediate zone, wet zone, right? For an example. So dry zone is having maybe the two-third part of rice zone in Sri Lanka. And other parts falls under the category of maybe that contributed to only the one-third portion. So two-third portion per portion, right? Two-third per portion, that is nearly rice zone. That means we have so many districts. Now the 5 districts in the northern province and Hambantota, Ambara in eastern province, all comes under the rice zone. So then, so we can say the rice zone is having only if it is rice zone, wet zone, intermediate zone, we just think about the rainfall. We don't know. But even Hambantota is different from Mannar. Mannar is different from Puttalam. Then even Jaffna is different from Trincomalee, based on the rainfall, based on other factors as well. So then we had to divide further by having other factors. That's why the elevation will come. Then based on the elevation, we have 7. Then somewhat the uniformity will increase. Then after that, based on the degree of wetness, you can see that the Sri Lanka is divided into 25 ecological regions. That means the uniformity further will increase. Understand? Then now, altogether we have 46 agroecological regions. That means we will have more and more uniform characteristic of a particular agroecological region. So that means we divided further, get some uniformity. That's what we earlier studied about, that uniform characteristic, similar characteristic of particular area, right? Understand? Now, we will look about the other attributes, right? If you look at that, yeah, we have wet zone. When we start wet zone, right? We have up country, low country, and mid country. Okay, so that is the agroclimatic zone, because it's both factor joined together, and we'll have that one. Okay, so if you look at that, 1975, what is the classification? We have only 1 to 3 notation, up from 1 to 5. So that's what you know right here, the notation up to 1. What is the W? That is wet zone. We indicated W as a wet zone, intermediate zone as I, and dry zone D, right? Likewise, up country U, mid country M, and low country L. Understand, right? So once again, you can look these characteristics. Wet zone named as W, intermediate zone named as I, dry zone named as D. Okay. Likewise, in up country U, mid country M, and low country L, respectively. Okay. So then the up country is also further divided into 3. Right? 3. That means wet zone up country 1, wet zone up country 2, wet zone up country 3. Understand? Right? That means the degree of wetness is high in YW1, W2, and finally W2, 3, wet zone up country 3. Right? So the area which belonging to west zone upcountry 1 is having highest degree of wetness rather than the area belongs to the west zone upcountry 3. So we can characteristic somewhat, right? If you see only the wet zone, you can see the area which falls, right, or which receive greater than 2,500 millimeter annual, then we see that is wet zone. Only the from W notice, and you can see only one character. If you go to the wet zone upcountry, you can say, okay, the upcountry, that means the area which falls more than 900 meter, more than 2,500 millimeter rainfall. Okay. So based on the WU notation, only you can have two characteristics. Now, based on the 1, 2, 3, you can also elaborate your agroecological regions because the notation, right? Okay. Okay. You should mute every whatever you call. You may some receive the call, but immediately you may be unmuted. So please mute, right? Okay. So in mid country, similarly, the WM1, M2, M3, there are further 3 divisions based on the degree of wetness. But in low country, that's on low country, it is further divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4 subdivision. That's also right. Okay, likewise in intermediate zone is having further division. But if you look at the dry zone, only the low country, there is no any up country, so only the low country less than 300 meter, right? So then after 2000 years onwards, 3 onwards, you can see that the classification, okay, WU1, you can see that further divided, no further division, only WU1. But W2 is further divided into 2, WU2A, WU2B. That means the other factors and rainfall are somewhat different, right? That means the scientists developed the WU2, then later they identified there are some characters are differ from some region. So therefore they again further divided into 2, that is W2A and W2B. If you look at that mid country, that's also WM1A, WM1B, WM2A and WM2B. Likewise, you can see further divisions here, right? So in rice zone, DL3, DL4, D5, no further division you can see. But DL1, rice zone low country is having further division A, B, C, D, E, F, A, right? But DL2, DL3, DL2 only A and B. But why? Because you can see in Sri Lanka, the low country mean 300 meter. If you draw the Sri Lanka, you can see low country mean all the coastal zone will come across the low country. So here rice zone, then here Colombo called, and then some other district will come. So then the low country, somebody belong to the west zone. Is it? So somewhat bar coastal area. Right? Somewhat belonging to hot dry area, somewhat belonging to very hot area, Mannar belonging to very hot area. So that's what the degree of moistures are somewhat different. But here this is wet zone low country, but we are looking about the rice zone low country. So Mannar is very arid area, that means very hot climate. So within that, the scientists found that there is further variation found. So then the DL1 is further divided into A to F. Right, that's what all the divisions are there. Okay, in the dry zone low country. Okay, now what you can do now, I am going to write right W. Okay, I am going to write one agroecological particularly right W. Sorry. Okay, W U1 right U1 sorry U2. Right, A, and also I can write D, L, 1A. So there may be that how you can differentiate the W to A from DL1A. Based on the notation, I may be I will ask some questions right towards you. So then you should understand. Now you understand how you can differentiate both agroecological regions. So you can see this is wet zone, this is dry zone. So then you can see the rainfall characteristic, right? So that means wet zone more than 2,500 millimeter, dry zone less than 1,750 millimeter. Then up country, so okay, area that means greater than 900 meter. Then low country less than 300 meter. Then 1, 2, then degree of wetness. Then A, then same characters, no? A, the notation you can see, right? Likewise, you can differentiate the agroecological regions based on the notation. Now, notation is there, but you should know what are the area fall under these notation, right? You know, right? High rainfall receiving area in Sri Lanka, we see whatever like Girikatina. So that means your whatever tea, right? Another area, right? So these closer area are having high rainfall in Sri Lanka, right? And lowest rainfall we see in Manna and some part of Hambantota. Earlier classification, these are named as arid zone. Nowadays not, right? Nowadays it comes under the rice zone. Okay. Okay, so when we move to the next part, you can see that I'm going to tell about the previous classification in Sri Lanka. That's what I am saying, that the Mannar and some part of Amanda district, they named it as dry zone, that means arid zone, very hot climate. But dry zone, you can see that where it can start is almost highest area, 2/3 apart, right? Okay, this is the very ancient classification, right? Now, if we move to the next classification, next picture, you can see that how it is evolved, right? Now you can see that, okay, you can see that the dry zone, intermediate zone, and wet zone that's highlighted, right? You can see pink color is will indicate the dry zone, right? So Jaffna, the northern province, eastern province, and some part, right? So the western province have been put along closer to that this area, right? Then from the start, then Kambaha another district come across, and Boronaru another district come across, Kambaganda come across, right? So it falls closer to the Mandalay district somewhere here. And here somewhere Matare it falls. So that's a Nakambu side, but at the end. So in between that we have a intermediate zone. But you know Kalambu, Kalatara, Gold, and some part of Matra, there is a coastal side, low country wet zone. And Hambaha, mid-country wet zone, that number. And if you go to the Kandy and Matali and lower area, that is the highest elevation, right? Once you move, the highest elevation, right? So that's what the wet zone is having, the coastal area, that is low country, mid-country, and up-country. Intermediate is also having coastal area, so that the mid-country, up-country, and low country is there. But dry zone is only having the low country because there's not much elevation, right? Okay. So that's what you should understand. What are the region fall under the wet zone? What are the region falls under the intermediate zone? What are the region falls under the dry zone? Even up country, mid country, and low country, you should know, right? And if you look at the rainfall pattern, then we know that wet zone, I have already mentioned that more than 2,500 millimeter. And intermediate zone, 1,750 to 2,000 millimeter. Okay, wait. Understand, right? Okay. So then if you look at the relief map of Sri Lanka, then again we have a low country, mid country, up country. This is based on the elevation. Earlier picture is saying that that is based on the rainfall pattern. Now it's based on the elevation, right? So that's you can see that the area come across, right? The pink color is low country. That means here the pink color is saying that low country. So the line is already there. This line is already there. I want to clear earlier, right? Clear drawing. Line is already there. Then you can see that this is the line of intermediate zone. Understand? You can see that previous line intermediate zone, right? Now understand, no? Intermediate zone line you can see. Likewise, here also, then you are going to see the line of intermediate zone. Now you can see that intermediate zone, right? Okay, this is intermediate zone. In between that, then this is wet zone, this is intermediate, this is dry zone. But here in this picture, pink color is low country. You can see that all the dry zone, this is part, no? All the dry zone are pink color. That means only low country. That means Ambara, Batikalo, Puranarva, Trinkamala, Andradabara, Vavonia, Mulati, Kaldachi, Jaffna, Mannar, Putalam, right? Okay, Hamandota. These all comes under the low country, then dry zone. So only low country. But if you look at the wet zone, you can see that the low country is pink color, Kalampu, right? Kampaga, Kaduttur, gold, right? Some part of Ratnagura, some part of K gold comes under the low country. And green color is to say in that mid country, right? Say then can be another area for us. Then the Novarelia another side for and up country. Likewise, in intermediate zone, we can see that some part of Purnagala and Kalapura, Columbus side, you can see that those are comes under the low country and mid country also there and up country also there. Okay, that is what the intermediate zone is having. All three category of low country, mid country, and up country. Okay. Okay. So now you understand that what about the classification, right? What about the elevation classification? What about the classification based on the rainfall factor, right? Next, we will move agroecological zone. I have already mentioned that an agroecological region zone is a land resource mapping unit. So one thing is that what are the land resources are available, then the land resource mapping also there. It represents a particular combination of soil, natural characteristic of climate, soil, and terrain. So you should understand that climate also there, soil also there, and also terrain. Terrain means what is the pattern, what is the topography of the land, right? What is the pattern, whether it is mountainous, whether it is sloping, whether it is undulating, right? And having a specific range of potential and constraint. We know what is the potentiality of Pacific region, say Nover area, what is the potentiality of Pacific area, cotton plain, right? What is the potentiality? What about the Mannar? What is the constraint? What is the potentiality, right? So we should know. Okay. So it represents a somewhat uniform agroclimate, soil and terrain condition. It would support a particular farming system where a certain range of crops and farming practices, right? Practices find their best expression. You know, right? The animals that we see, we are rearing the breeds, different type of breeds. Here, you can see that in our area we see Frisians, asses, but in our local rice zone we say as a cross, Frisian cross, local breeds, right? So then the breeds also some having some adaptation based on these agroclimatic zone. Understand? And crop, you can see rambutan and mangostan. These crops are well developed and well in yield, right, in the upcountry area, but not in here, rice zone area, because the climatic conditions are different, soil conditions are different. Strawberry, you know, right? Strawberry is a famous in the Nover area, right? Potato, right? What about the potato? Even we can cultivate here, but even we have some different varieties, right? Tomato, Only you are purchasing the tomato in a particular variety, particular type? No. If you go to the market, you can get different type of tomato. Round shape, globe shape, cylindrical shape, oh, so much of types you can purchase, no? So we will study later about these varieties and other characters, right? So that's what the agroecological zone and characterization are very much important to have or to recommend some crops and animal for their better development. Okay. Okay. So then Sri Lanka shows a very typical tropical monsoon climate, right? So you know, right? We have a hot season and we have a dry season. That means we have a wet season, otherwise we can say moist season all year round with a distinct wet and dry season. Rainfall of Sri Lanka is of multiple origin: monsoonal, convectional, and synoptic scale. Weather system formed in Bay and Bengal account for a major share of the natural world, right? So then it varies from 900 meter or 5,500 meter, right? So that means the lowest rainfall to highest rainfall we have, right? So southern, southeastern zone, and you can see that here, you can see the Sri Lanka, north, right, and east, yes, and south and west, right? So southeastern lowlands to the we say southwestern lowland, we have a slope. This is mountainous area we have, right, somewhere here. So we have a southeastern slope and southwestern slope, right? So then let's see the rainfall here, southwestern slope, we have a central highland, that's what we are receiving the highest amount of rainfall. You can see that the area also here, we have only smaller ocean, right? Smaller narrowed ocean, the air is moving. But here, most of the largest area, the airflow will come across, no? That's what we are receiving highest rainfall, right? Sri Lanka is also at the risk of cyclone, intense tropical storm, which have, right, been known to last at the island during the month of October to December, right? So not only the monsoonal, we are receiving several type of rainfall, convectional, synoptic scale, like that. Monsoon, we will study later about, right, northeast monsoon and southwest monsoon. But even we have the intermonsoon in between the biggest monsoonal type, right? The spatial differences in temperature in Sri Lanka are due to the altitude. I have already told about that. What is that? Right? Every 100 meter, right? Every 100 meter height or every 100 meter raise, the 0.64 degrees Celsius will fall, right? So that means when the elevation is high and high, the temperature will decrease, right? Temperature will decrease. Understand? When the elevation high and high. That's what within the Sri Lanka we will have a temperature variation, right? The mean monthly temperature differ, right, slightly depending on the seasonal movement of the sun with some modifying influence caused by rainfall. In the lowlands, the mean annual temperature is 27 degrees C and mean daily range is 6 degrees. Somewhat variation is there. So that means the average rainfall is 27 degrees C, right? But it can maybe vary with the 60 degrees C, 6 degrees Celsius. In central highland, with altitude up to 2,400 meter, a cooler climate is experienced, right? So 2,400 meter mean that means you have only 25 to 24 meter. That is the highest elevation, the peak elevation, peak point. But if you go about 2,400 meter, then you can feel the chilling effect, cooling effect, right? So the adaptation of crops, animals also differ, right? You can see that in polar region, ice-bearing bears are there, ice-bearing animals are there. That means they can have a fat layer. Understand? Likewise, in our BA is different because this is adapted to hot climate. Okay. So likewise, plants also have some adaptation. We will study later. Okay. Okay, so if you look at the soil, I have already mentioned that Sri Lanka is having different type of soil. So if you look at that, the reddish brown earth, right? That is the highly contributed, that 24.6 percentage. And next, we can see that red, yellow, phosphoric, right? That is also highly extended, right? Here in Sri Lanka, 22.8. So then the low humid clay soil, that also, right? So in addition to that, we will have other soil type, non-calcic brown, NCB, red and yellow lattice soil, RYL, immature brown loam, IBL, solidized solenites, chromosol, reddish brown lattice soil. So you can see that, don't confuse with reddish brown lattice soil with reddish brown earth. So because reddish brown earth is the highest percentage of soil type rather than the reddish brown lattice soil. Alluvials, regasol, broken half, bob, right? So you can see that these type of soil classification, soil types are there, okay, in Sri Lanka. There's a series, soil series, we say series, soil type, and also soil series. Soil series meant is the particular area somebody is having different type of soil series. You can see that. So series means sand type come across like that, right? And also maybe sometime the reddish brown earth come across likewise. Okay, likewise. That is a series, right? Right. Say sometime you feel somewhere some people here and some people here they can feel the different type of soil. You know, right? Here some person somewhere here and some person somewhere here they can feel the same soil type because of the soil series spreadness. Okay, how where it can be distributed, up to what area, up to what extent the particular type of soil is distributed. Okay, now you understand, right? Okay, so then if you look at these soil type and crops, especially the soil type also influence on the crop growth, right? Reddish brown earth is mainly suited for maize and grain legumes. Low humid clay suited for paddy. Red yellow phosphoric plantation crop. For an example, tea, rubber, coconut, right? That's a plantation crop. So this is introduction part now, but you have a following semester, you have a different semester, then you will learn these type of things, right? Later, tea, rubber, right, and coconut is especially major plantation, right? Okay. If you look at the non-calcic brown, big onion and red onion, non-calcic brown. So that's where the Puttalam and Kalpiti area, right? Red onion cultivation are famous, right? Puttalam, you know, right? That's a famous area, Puttalam, right? Okay. So red yellow latasol, cashew, sand regasol, coconut, alluvial, paddy, chromosol, paddy, immature brown loam, home garden. So almost we can have some different manipulation of soil amendments, then we will have the home garden that is having immature brown loam. Presently, we can have a home garden, right? Nowadays, home garden is popular, right? So then, this is type of this is for an example, right? But we can see about the other crop as well, right? Based on our good management practices, okay? So, for an example, reddish brown earth, the largest extent of land in the rhizome carries reddish brown color. Series, so where we have a series, Madhavachia, Ardviva, Anamaduva, Ronavaruva, Tadarutra, Siambalanduva, Rana, Nonagama, Padavegara, Mangada, Valava, Uhiti. These are some areas in this series of rainfall, so series of soil that is red, that is brown earth. Okay? Okay. So then, what about the characteristic of reddish brown soil, right? Soil depth moderate 60 into 150 centimeter. You can see that what is the soil depth, right? If you see the crown floor, then when we go vertically below the crown surface, then there is depth, soil depth. We have a horizon, then we have a B horizon, and we have a sea corrosion, maybe the parent rock also we have, right? That's one of the classification simply I can say, right? So then the reddish brown earth moderately 60 to 150 centimeter depth it's having. Texas sandy clay loam structure strong sub-regular block B. Infiltration 3 to 4 centimeter in 4 hours. Infiltration means water can move from top to bottom. That means the infiltration rate, right? Consistently hard when dry, slightly friable when moist, very sticky when wet, right? So these are some characteristics of the reddish brown earth. So as an example, I just put because all the soil type is having different characters. Okay, some are overlapping, but the characters are especially you have to know, right? So how we can assess the soil profile? This is like we can have a vertical cut, and we see what about the layers, right? What about the horizon? You can study in the soil chemistry. So vertical cut we can make, and we say A horizon, B horizon, and C horizon. Like that, we can study the vertical profile of the soil, right? So this is topsoil. We see this is topsoil. So up to 30 centimeter. That is good for the crop production. That is topsoil. Topsoil always having high fertility, right? That is fertile soil. Okay, fertile soil, topsoil. So that's what for the crop and growth development, topsoil is very much important. So when we go deeply, then fertility will decrease, right? Fertility will decrease. Understand? So the A horizon we see that is having high soil fertility. That is the topsoil. And when we go to the B horizon, we see subsoil, topsoil, subsoil. But subsoil is having less fertile than the A horizon, right? So in case of crop production, we are looking about the crop production. The topsoil is very much important, right? And also we adding some organic matter, cow dung, everything that also come across in the topsoil. Understand? Why? Because we are growing annual crops, right? Especially annual vegetable crops. The root depth, especially it can go up to 40, right? 40 like that, 40 centimeter like that. So the annual crop, topsoil is very much important. But perennial crop, it can grow deeper and get some water in deeper layer and get some nutrient from the deeper layer. So perennial crop is not important, but even the annual crop, where this crop is having shallow root depth is very much important to study about the soil, right? Right. So I think maybe that maybe you will have a limited time, no? Do you have Alexis? Do you have Alexis? Other Alexis? At what time do you have Alexis? Yeah, tell me about
10,
it. Yeah?
10:15.
Yes, okay. So, so then I just I wanted to tell about the 24 agroecological region classification. This is a map of 24 agroecological regions. So the previously in 1975 we have this classification, right? Wet zone 10, intermediate zone 9, and dry zone 5, right? I have already mentioned that. Okay. Likewise, in further we have a agroecological region. You can see that what are the characteristics developed in the agroecological region map, right? If you look at that, okay, that zone is there, upcountry and mid-country and these classifications there, I have already mentioned that. The notation is there, then rainfall pattern is there, right? Then what about the expectancy of annual rainfall? That's also there. The monthly wise, they develop the rainfall pattern and major soil type. That's what I am saying. That's also one of the characters to classify these agroecological regions. And terrain pattern, that is also one of the another factor to include this classification. Understand? Now understand, no? So we should study about all the factors, right, for the classification. Okay. Right. So then, next class onward, we will study about the other type of classification and other characteristic of these ecological regions. Okay, I'm going to wind up.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.